Thank you. So, again, my name is Freddy. Let's start there. I was born in a small village, very, very small village. And in that village, it was just my grandpa and his boys and his girls. That was it, maybe 12, 13 houses. At an early age, around 3 years old, we left the village. My father went to school. When I was born, my father had just finished primary school. Actually, my father's life is more interesting than mine. I wish I was telling you my father's life. Yeah, I can see Agape's eyes lightening. Yeah, primary school. So back then, schools were too far away. You had to be at least 12 or 14 to start school, because you had to walk like 5-7 miles to go to school and come back. So they didn't start until my dad didn't start until he was around maybe 12 or 14. I have to check that. Yeah, so when he was in his 5th grade, school became expensive, and his dad told him, I'm not going to continue to sell cows so you can go to school. I'm gonna ask you to get married, so I give you your cows. Whatever you do with your cows is your problem. At that point, he was 20, and he was in 5th grade. So he got married, he took his cows, and he started selling one and go to school. And then I was born. I was born right after he graduated from primary school. So I knew exactly what I was talking about when I said that. But when he died, he was already a college graduate. He was studying his master's degree. So you understand, finishing primary school at the age of 20 and going to and being married and start having kids and continue and at some point start your master's degree, that to me is the most inspirational story in my life, and that keeps me going. So let's let him rest, not talk about him that much. So anyway, he was going to school, and so I left my community when I was around 3, 4. We went to Rwanda, 1979. We came back in 1982. And so that's when I had finished my kindergarten. I went to kindergarten in Rwanda. And then I started P1, or what you call grade 1 in the same village where I was born. We went into school. Our school didn't have, it had grass on top. So every time when it rained, we didn't learn. There was no way to study because it was raining. And so if it rained half the year, we only studied half the other half. It was crazy. It was crazy. Sometimes in order to jump high, you have to remember the humble beginnings. You know, God pulls us from some really, really humble beginnings, so you never burst into, trying to pretend to be who you are not. I'm still that boy in that village. So we left that community after 2 years. We went to another city called Bunia. It's in northern Congo. That's where I did the rest of my primary school. I left Congo after high school, went to Rwanda, 1995. That's when I met your pastor at the University of Rwanda. I was doing pharmacy school. He was doing engineering, right? Engineering. I spent 5 years there, graduated in 2000. But during those years, during the war, I lost my father and 3 brothers. I had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. I lost 3 of them in one day. It was September 22nd, 1996. Just in one morning, someone decided to end those beautiful lives. It was arguably the biggest challenge of my life. Like, my life turned upside down. I lost taste to everything I know in life. I started, even my grades went south. I didn't have the joy of living anymore. But, you know, they say time heals. So slowly, I started dealing with those emotional wounds and tried to cope and try to normalize life, to take what had just happened and try to see how I can still lead my life despite what happened. I was able to graduate, and right after graduation, I went to the US in 2001. I got married. I have 2 boys, David and Jonathan, and they're now big boys. David is 21. He graduates next year from college. Jonathan is 19. He's in 2nd year of college. So, and on Sunday we'll talk more about this, but my father started calling me a doctor when I was still in primary school. He will come home and he will say, "Dr. Kaniki, how are you? Because I know you'll be a doctor." He prophesied over my life. Maybe it was just a joke. Maybe he wanted to motivate me. I never asked him because he died while I was still young. I had not had some adult conversation with him. But nevertheless, those words had powerful impact in me. There are so many things that his influence had me do or achieve. And I'm not sure whether when he called me doctor, he meant medical doctor or doctor, PhD, I don't know. But whatever it is, it stuck to my mind. And I felt like, you know, I have that in me. My father saw that in me. He called me doctor, and I have what it takes to become one. So even after his death, I continued to pursue and become what he had dreamed to see his son become. It's obviously it would have been easier to become a doctor while he was there because I had support, and it was maybe 2 or 3 times harder to do that without him around. I was just telling your dad this morning when he picked me up at the airport how at some point I was working nights and going to school during the day just so I can support my siblings and my mom while I went to school. And some people were advising me to just quit school because, you know, not everyone is lucky enough to go to school. Just quit school, find a job, raise your siblings. we, everyone you see on the street walking, you all know what is superficial, but deep down, people have challenges. What they have achieved, it's in despite of so many other things. When you see them smile, they smile despite so many other emotional burdens that they carry. And I've become aware of that, and it has helped me live with other people and communicate correctly with other people and be cultural sensitive and create situational awareness, but also it's also a testimony that we don't just achieve because we went through a paved highway, but we achieved despite the challenges. If you are eager enough, if you have that urge in you to become that you have always dreamed becoming, no challenge is big enough to stop you. Your determination, your resilience will take you there, no matter what. As long as you don't allow something to put you down, nothing will. Nothing will. We have so much power in us that we never know we have until we call upon it and we decide to use it. So I ended up going to the University of Colorado. I graduated. My first doctorate was in 2010, May 2010. That was in pharmacy. At that point, life was good because I had a decent job. I could pursue anything else after that, any other master's or doctorate or anything I wanted to be, I could become because I had the money for it. I had a strong motivation at home, my kids, my wife, a supportive system around me and my siblings. But what I can, any lesson when I look back at my life and what it had evolved to what I am today is that anything, even an obstacle, even a challenge, you can use it to your advantage. Even the emotional wound carries a negative energy. It's either when you lose someone you love, you have a choice. It can make you a bitter person and become bitter, really, really bitter, hate everyone, hate everything, or it can make you a better person. It's up to you to choose. So even the negative energy that comes from the emotional wounds that we carry can be channeled in a positive way. Because of that, I started a school in Burundi. It's called the Burundi American International Academy. That is, that's now actually the first school in Burundi where all the, including the president's kids go to that school, all the powerful people in the country send their schools there. It's the most expensive and the academically, it's the best school in the country. The theme of that school, it's built on two foundations. One, it's the academic side. We base our academic on the STEM model, science, technology, engineering, and math, and we bring teachers from the US to go teach in Burundi. We make sure we produce kids that are competitive on the global level. but on the other hand, we saw seeds of personal responsibility, humanity, compassion, all these human values. The school's theme is Ubuntu. Ubuntu, which you all know the word Ubuntu, which originated from South Africa with Mandela and Desmond Tutu. It stands for, I am happy because you are happy. I am because we are. Our happiness is interconnected, is inextricably connected. I cannot be isolately happy. Like I cannot isolate my happiness. My happiness only is fulfilled and complete when other people around me are happy. And so we teach, we have in our curriculum, we have conflict resolution from kindergarten all the way to senior 6. We have peace building curriculum from kindergarten to senior 6. So we try to create another generation, and we did this in memory of my siblings and my father who passed away, who were killed because of who they were, to make sure that that does not happen again, to make sure that kids will graduate from there. And because these are kids of powerful leaders of the country, that they will go on to lead the country in a different way because they had a better foundation. They were taught values that are important in society, that decisions that they will carry on to make in life will be considerate of other people rather than self-interest. And so few things in life that happen to you, no matter how tragic, how traumatic they can be, there is a way they can push you to be a better person and for you to achieve more and to do more for the community, as long as the attitude you have towards what's happening to you is a positive attitude. Thank you.
Microphone yours, guys. Ask question, feel free. Thank you. Maybe we take 1 or 2, 3, and then you answer at the same time. Or we can take one by one. Go on. Claude?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Claude.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to ask my language so that I can explain myself better. Thank you very much, our guest. I've been following you.
yagiye avuga history y'ubuzima bwe nkuko vuye kubivuga kandi pastor yambarije nk'ikibazo kimwe mu byo nkeneye kubaza.
Talked about your story and I followed it, and pastor has asked a question I was going to ask you.
Nigeze kumva umunsi umwe cyangwa se mu byo yavuze avuga ukuntu yize cyangwa se ukuntu yageze muri America strugglinga n'igihe yari kuri yashaka kwiga pharmacy n'igihe yagiye mu bitaro abwira mu directeur w'ibitaro nkeneye basi nzankoropa mu bitaro gusa imiti impumurire.
I watched you talking about you going in the hospital and asking the hospital director to at least allow you to be the cleaner so that you can smell the medication in the hospital.
I
think you said it. I remember you saying it.
Turamukurikira cyane rimwe na rimwe. Ikibazo rero kubera ko numva ubuzima ukuntu wavuye muri Afrika uza muri America struggle wagize rimwe na rimwe natwe nizo nkazo dufite ariko ikibazo mfite ni iki kivuga ngo
my question is
ikibazo kiravuga ngo ni motivation cyane yari iki.
What actually motivates you, because the challenge you met then is the same challenge you are facing now. Where did you get the motivation to push you over the line?
Kurako twebereka nivugira wenda usanga cungiye kuba byo mfite challenges zanje arizo wenda duhuriho na benshi cyane.
My challenge might be common.
Chambere kwa barrier y'ururimi.
The language barrier is one.
Cha kabiri ni responsibility.
Secondly, responsibility.
noneho waza wagerageza kuja kwiga ukabona ugahura na za challenges zibiri mvuze,
And those two challenges that are facing you.
ariko mu byo wavuze numvise nawe ari nko wari umbeze.
But listening, going back to what you said, you had the same challenge.
noneho igihe twagukurikiranaga noneho ntago twabashaka kukubaza, ariko urumye tukubonye.
When we followed you on YouTube, we couldn't ask you, but now we've got you live.
gerageza rero tubwire neza duhishuka
We want you to shed some light on it so we understand how you overcome these challenges. Just a pen. Yeah. That's the main issue, the main hurdle, the main problem we've got. I came from Africa after studying, doing some education.
When
you arrive here, it's as if you're starting primary school.
Challenge wagize ninkazo nako dufite, ariko rero utubwire neza twumve nimba
pinpoint on
tubasha gutinyuka kugira ngo izo challenge nako tuzifite.
Shed on light so that it can encourage us to overcome our challenges as well.
Murakoze cyane.
Thank you. Next question. Anyone with a question, guys? Please feel free. This is your day, guys. Feel free to ask a question. Yeah, go on. Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't have to stand up. You can sit down the way you feel comfortable. Yeah.
You said that failure. My name is Precious, and you said that failure is not an option, but sometimes you can still try your hardest and still fail. So I just want to understand, like, what do you mean by like failure is not an option, and also like failing, it has like its advantages and like disadvantages, if you get what I mean. Like it's like if you fail, like let's say I fail like my history exam, like next time I know like I can do better, like motivates me to do better, if you get what I mean. And that's my question. Yeah.
Okay, one third question, and then we answer those three, and then we go to the next.
My name is Agape, and I have the question on my phone. I wrote it down. Okay, you mentioned about people looking up to you. If you like do well, people look up to you, and they will also try to do well. But that's not always the case. Like there will always be people that will like envy your success. So I don't know, like, how do you deal with that? Like, say how you got to have a PhD in pharmacy.
Pharmacy, two PhDs.
Two PhDs. Say, for example, maybe like a family member or a friend, they don't like seeing you win, or like there'll be people in life who don't always want to see the best for you. So it's like, how did you deal with that whilst studying and stuff like that? Or like the jealousy or something.
Right. Okay. We answer those three questions, then we get taking more three, and then we keep going. Thank you.
Okay, let me answer the first question. Claude, yeah. There has always been challenges. Anybody in life, no matter what, even kids in kindergarten, when they graduate from kindergarten, they had challenges to overcome. At every level, there are challenges. I remember one time we diagnosed a toddler. He was like 5, and he was diagnosed with intense stress And in my mind, I was like, how can a 5-year-old be stressed? Like, what is stressing them? Like, you don't have no bills to pay. You don't have anything. Like, how can you be stressed? But at every level of life, there are challenges. And yes, just like you, I came with a language barrier problem. I was telling him how at Boston Logan Airport, I needed an interpreter to tell the immigration officer why I was there. So I didn't speak any English, maybe just good morning, how are you, that's it. And so I needed an interpreter to be able to explain what I was coming to do in the country and so on. I had some cultural shock. I'm an African, grew up in Africa with a different culture. I was now in a different world. Everything was new. And there's also the weather. The weather is a big challenge. People don't talk about it, but you know, I came from the equator where it's warm 12 months a year. And I landed in Portland, Maine, where we have heavy winter for 6 months. So it was another challenge. There were so many challenges. Rather than telling you what my motivation is, and I'm going to come back to it, let me just tell you that one simple key to success is to focus at the right place. If you focus on what is making it hard, it will become even harder. If you focus on what advantage you have, or you look at it from an angle that gives you some level of positivity, then you will succeed. Because how you choose to look at it informs your brain what attitude to have about your situation. Just like we talked about those 2 kids who had a dad who was an alcoholic, how they looked at that situation and the attitude they developed towards that situation is what made the biggest difference in their life. To me, I had a very, very smart and educated father. And one of the things that I owe him to this point is that from an early age, he told me, you are capable. Don't let anyone tell you there is something you can never achieve. You are powerful beyond what you can see. Like every day he will pronounce a very powerful thing upon my life. Like every morning or every evening, he will ask you, what was school like? And then I will start explaining, and then I will say something that was difficult. Oh, don't you worry about that. You don't know who you are, you know. And so that in me, it developed some really, really strong confidence and self-esteem. And that there's a French word that's called émulation, but it's not the same in English if you say emulation. But it's competitiveness, like feeling like anything anyone achieves that was born of a woman and a man, I can achieve. And that is, it's like fuel, in kind of sense, that you put in and it turns on the engine and it pushes you forward. So, yeah, maybe I did it in longer years than others. When abana b'Abanyamerika bazabafasha imyaka 2 nje bimfata 3, ariko at least the paper we got at the end was the same. Kandi ntibanditseho ko njewe nabigize mu myaka myinshi kurusha abandi. So, nibyo, je pense ko kimwe ni umubyeyi and everything that ikindi, I had overcome so many things socially and family-wise that I didn't give a chance to any challenge to be a deal breaker for me. Um, I went through pharmacy school in Rwanda with so many challenges, just life challenges, to the point that, to me, being in America and going to school in America was already a big achievement. No one could tell me the opposite. And so any other challenge that I was seeing or facing, it was already minor. In my mind, I had overcome. The attitude I had to any of those challenges was like, oh, get out of my way. I'm moving forward. And it's true, sometimes we feel like we're swimming against the current. Water and stones are coming down and you're swimming upriver. But it's all here. I think one thing is mental agility, mental toughness, that helps. And the fact that our degrees are not recognized, that also was a challenge. It set me back. I spent 2 years to get my degree to be recognized. Actually, 3 years before I could go back to school. So yeah, that also sets you back. But and I'm not saying that those challenges are not real or they don't affect you. But as long as you don't give up, the end result is the same. Yeah. Failure is not an option. Seriously, it's not an option. Huh? It's not an option. When I say failure, I don't mean that you can never fail an English test or a history test in school. No. Let me just say this. Most battles in life are not won by the smartest or the sharpest people we know, but they're rather won by those who don't give up. So to me, failure is to give up. As long as you're still working on it, it doesn't matter. Even if it takes you 3 years where it took other people 2 years, you didn't fail. It just took you longer. Failure is when you give up and say, you know what? I give up. I fail. I admit. That is that's the failure I'm talking about. And that is not an option. And you fail not because, no, you will succeed not because you are the smartest, but because you refuse to give up. If I have dreamed to be a pilot, and because of my family situation, because of I don't have the tuition, and I'm taking fewer classes because that's all I can afford, and I end up being a pilot after 5 years where it took other people 2 years or 3 years, those are challenges, and that's admissible. But the end result is that I'm a pilot. I did not fail. If it took me 3 years because I took physics 3 times rather than once, like others do, so be it. But at the end, I got to where I wanted to be. And that segment of your life where you have to redo physics twice or 3 times, it will be a story you will tell your children laughing and make it like a bad story. And it's not affecting you anymore. When you are a commercial pilot for British Airways or Delta or American Airlines or Air France, you will hardly remember that there was a class you failed twice. So some things in life, they are very discouraging because we consider them in isolation. But if you look at the bigger picture, they don't mean nothing. And there will be nothing in your life. and you will hardly remember them. And even when you do remember them, they will be insignificant. You will just laugh. Let me go to the other extreme. And I had a patient that had attempted to commit suicide. She tried to kill herself. First time, didn't succeed. They brought her to the hospital. We treated her. We sent her back. Second time. Third time. So at that point, counselors had talked to her. We had given her medications and stuff. So I just felt in my spirit to talk to her. So I went into the patient room. I closed. I locked the door. I said, you know what? I'm not here to give you medication. Today, I'm just here to talk to you. And I told her, what's the most pressing problem that you have right now that prompted you to try to end your life? She told me what the problem is. And I'm not going to say it, but to me, it was minor. Actually, nothing is big enough to make you want to end your life. That's just me. And so in talking to her, I showed her how that problem, 15 years from now when you're married and have kids, you won't even remember this issue. She said, probably. As I continued to explain, she said, definitely won't affect me 10 years from now. And then I said, why are you trying to resolve a temporary problem with a permanent solution? Like when you end your life, that's permanent, right? It ain't coming back. Why are you trying to resolve a temporary issue that has a lifespan of a week or a month or even a year? If you're going to live to be 70 or 80, what's 1 year? It's not even a paragraph in a book of your life. So why are you trying to resolve it? And she said, you know what? I never thought about it that way. Oh my God, you're right. And that was the end of that attempted suicide. Up until today, I still communicate with her. She moved to a different state, but we still communicate via Facebook. She's great. Never attempted suicide again. Sometimes the problem is how we look at the issue. It's not the issue itself. No matter how pinching that problem is, sometimes it pinches really hard and it hurts. But look at the bigger picture. What is it 15 years from today? Like, there are always a way to look at things that gives you a different perspective. And so just because I failed my chemistry class doesn't mean I'm not going to be a good doctor. No. I can retake it. Even if I take it 3 times. When I will be a medical director at the biggest hospital in Manchester, I will never remember I failed chemistry. So failure is not an option. It's more about giving up or not giving up. To be an inspiration and to be a role model, you can never control what other people think, and it's not up to you. And it's not your role. It's not your realm of, no. But you can give them what to think about. Even those who don't like you, but deep down they admire. Sometimes people will reject you because they feel that they cannot achieve what you have achieved. That negative resentment comes from, she inspires me, but I'm not good enough. So I resent. And that's not of your problem. No. I will give them enough material to either be inspired or be jealous. It doesn't matter. The most important part is I've given them the right material. Their attitude will determine which path they choose. We talked about those two kids. One ended up being successful, one ended up being a failure. They had exactly the same material to feed from. So let's be the role model. Let's be the inspiration the world needs, the younger generation needs. If they can inspire from us and they choose to resent us, let that be their choice. But as a human being, my conscience is clean that in this world, I have done what I can to make this path cleaner and smoother for the generation that's coming after me. Thank you.
The next three questions. Next three. Go on quick, guys. Yeah? Next three questions. Quick, guys. Yeah.
It's a bit like off topic. It's about him, but it's a bit off topic. So I can sort of, did you purposely want to live in Alaska? Like, why did you choose to live somewhere so remote? Because Alaska has such a small population compared to all of America. I was just wondering why you chose to live in such a small state.
That's a good question, yeah? Why did you live in Alaska? He will answer that. Next question. It's your opportunity, guys. Ask real questions, difficult ones. Yeah. They're coming, don't worry. Agnes, yeah?
I wanted to ask, like, out of everything you chose to study, why did you choose to study doctor even though your dad used to tell you, oh, you're going to grow up being a doctor? Was it like a personal reason or like how your siblings passed away? Or was it that you wanted to see like a change in life?
Okay. The last question, the third question, yeah?
You know how you said knowing your background is important in the start. How did you, like, you know how you moved to America and you moved like quite a long time ago? How did you keep your background like when no one was in America at that time?
How did you keep your background? How did you stay connected to your roots? Is that the question?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, can we take one more question? One more question, yeah? I think this question won't be long, but any question? Any more question? Fourth one?
Yeah, reka mbaze gato.
I'm going to ask.
Wavuze ku ishuri riri i Burundi.
You talked about your school in Burundi.
Amazina ni Serugo Samso.
Serugo Samso, my name.
Nibaza kuki watekereje gushira ishuri i Burundi?
Why did you think about starting such a prestigious school in Burundi
Nturishire muri Kongo iwacu.
and not in Congo, in our country?
Kuko wavuze ngo any achievement umuntu agize ni umuryango na community.
Because he said any achievement you do is for your family and community and your country.
Waba utekereza kuyishyira muri Kongo iwacu kugira ngo ubwoko bwacu benefits iyo education?
Why would you not put a procedure? Are you planning to put another school like that in Congo so that our community, so that our community can benefit from the knowledge that you are empowering kids with? Is that something you are planning for our community along the line of starting an international school in Congo?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you can answer these and then we move to the next. Maybe the last question. Thank you. Time is ticking.
I have to admit that I didn't see the Alaska question coming. So I had a friend. When I started my career, I started it at Maine Medical Center, which is a very big teaching hospital in Portland, Maine. And that's actually where I really evolved. I started there as a runner. A runner was, that's what he referred to. I went to Maine Medical Center because I had a pharmacy degree, but that pharmacy degree was not recognized in America. So I was nobody. A, I didn't speak English. Two, my degree was not recognized. So no matter what I knew, I couldn't prove that I know what I know. So I went to the hospital, and so I'm going to go back to the story. And this is probably not part of your question, really, but it's a good story. So I went to that hospital, and I knocked, and I said, "Where is the pharmacy?" They showed me the pharmacy. And I said, "I'm here to see the director of the pharmacy." My English was, okay. Let's just say that they probably heard and understood what I meant, and so they took me to the director. My transcripts, pharmacy school transcripts, were in French, so they were not any good either. Even if I had them, I couldn't show her because they were all in French. So this lady came and I spoke to her and I said, "You know what, I'm a pharmacist." She couldn't believe me. She thought I was either mentally challenged but I said, "Believe me, I'm a pharmacist, and I'm not asking to be a pharmacist here. I'm not even asking to be a pharmacy technician, but I need a job in the pharmacy. If I'm going to clean the toilets, but let me clean the pharmacy toilets, because I want to be close to the pharmacist. I want to rub myself against the pharmacist. I want to see the pharmacy world, how it functions. If I walk in here, even if I mop the floor, a year later, I will be smarter than if I was mopping the floor in a chicken processing company. You get my point, right?" And she told me, "Can you do a pharmacy calculation test?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Go prepare, next week you come and take the test." And I was like, I have nothing to prepare, just bring it now. She had the test prepared. Apparently it's the test that they give everyone else. She gave it to me and she stepped out. She said, "You have 30 minutes. I must have done it in 10 or 15. And I handed. The good thing about calculations is they're numbers. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't have language. I could have done it in Kinyamulenge. It was still correct. It didn't matter how I processed my thoughts, whether I processed them in Swahili, Kinyamulenge, or French, but the numbers, they were correct. And when she looked at them, she was like, "Wow, okay. Okay, you're not as dumb as you look." No, she did not say that. But at least she had some level of consideration. So she gave me a job. I started for 3 months as a runner from April 4th to July 16th. I was a runner. A runner means they make a medication, they mix a medication, those big bags, those IV bags. Someone has to take them from the pharmacy downstairs. Usually pharmacies are either on the ground floor or the basement, to run them up to the floor in the patient room. So for 3 months, I learned every single room in the hospital, and I was carrying those medications. After 3 months, she said, "You can become a technician." So I became a technician. About maybe another 3 months, she said, "You know what? You can become an IV technician." IV and chemo, which means you can now mix medications, do calculations and stuff like that. And at that time, I started studying not just English, but also to take the test to get my degree recognized. That was 2002. In 2004, I became a pharmacist in that same hospital. By the time I left in May of 2007, I was the pharmacy supervisor on my shift. So on my shift, I was the lead pharmacist. From April 4th, 2002 to May 16, 2007, I went from the lowest role in the pharmacy all the way to where I was. So it was, and I'm just repeating it because he said it in Kinyamulenge and you guys didn't listen to it. But so in May I had a partner who came from Alaska, and he was talking to me about Alaska. In Alaska, he was working half the year, like 3 months on, 3 months off. And because I was going to school, I felt like it was really a good opportunity. So I went to check it out. I went there for a few weeks. I liked it. And the second time I went, I think I may have gone for 3 months, and I'm still waiting for those 3 months to be over. I liked it. I stayed. So it was more a professional decision. And I'm glad I went there. I met some great people who inspired me to do what I do and to become who I became. And I think also I was living in a Banyamulenge community in Maine. I think breaking away gave me an opportunity to connect to a different type of community. Not that I don't like my community, but it was more of an academic, professional community, people that I was looking up to, people that I was comparing myself to, and it challenged me to be more competitive and to rise. So it was a good decision, but that's not why I left and went to Alaska, but I'm still glad I left and went to Alaska. Thank you. I love school. I'm still taking classes even today. I don't know why I did it. But I think I just love school. And I think that school is part of life. I'm still taking classes until today. I still look at some subjects and I feel like I don't know much in this subject. Let me take 2 classes in this subject and see. And, and when you go there, the more you learn, the more you realize you didn't know anything. What we know is just a fraction of what exists. So if you, let me stay within the medical science. When you do cardiology and you study the heart, you feel so much pleasure. You know the heart, you know how it functions, you know the electricity of the heart, you know the pumping function of the heart, you know the different anatomical parts of the heart and how they function and the feeding mechanisms and how the regulations of the heartbeat and the blood pressure and so on. You feel like you know so much. And then you meet someone, they're nephrologist. They study the kidney. And when you talk to them and they tell you how the kidney functions and the details you didn't know about the kidney, and you were a doctor, okay? You're not a guy on the street. But they give you details about the kidney that you oh my God, you feel like, I thought I knew something. I know nothing. You know, when you meet, and you think you're good, and you meet an engineer, and they tell you how much calculations they put in to make sure they can calculate what structure a bridge should sustain and how much tons of weight this bridge can sustain and so on. And when they tell you how they do it, you feel like knowledge is just an ocean. It's like an ocean of water. You had a bucket of water and you thought you know something, and you meet someone who is deep in the ocean. And so that always challenges me. And so I think it's just the desire to learn, the good sensation and satisfaction that comes from learning and knowing, that pushes me and pushes you too. And I'm hoping that it pushes all of us to know more and to become who we were meant to become. Connections to home. I am who I am, and there is a reality that you cannot escape. You will never change who you are. That's one. You are only as strong as your roots. A tree is not strong because it has big branches. It's strong because it has deeper and bigger roots. Your root is your connection to who you are. You can grow to become a very powerful man and have powerful friends, but they will only respect you because you have somewhere you come from and how good and respected and impactful you are in your community. So whether you do it for selfish reasons because you want to become strong and you want to be happy with yourself, or whether you do it because you have so much exposure to your community, which is my case. Unlike you, I was born in the village. I tested the life in the village, and I can't take that taste away from my mouth anymore. It's easy to know something. It's very hard to unknow what you know. So I know that village. I cannot unknow it. It's like I've already tasted the honey. I will miss it. I can't untest it. So it is what it is. It's who I am. It's part of my identity, and it's an identity that I'm very, extremely proud of. And that I take my kids every year or every other year to make sure they connect. But it's hard when they go there for 2 weeks versus I had my childhood there. So whenever you can, connect with your roots. It's very important in life. It will keep you balanced. This world, there are so many influences. There are so many things that will pull you in one direction or another. But staying connected to your roots will help you remain balanced. You won't be pulled all the way to one direction. You will always balance. Bahia to Burundi. We have challenges in Congo that you know. There are parts of Congo that I can't go to right now, and I'll be killed just because of who I am or how I look. Just my face will be enough to have me killed. If they can kill me, what do you think? What will prevent them from putting fire on my school? If they know this school belongs to someone like me. And besides, they've put fire on churches. Right? So if they can put fire on church, not only they disrespect the pastor or the owner of the church or the people who, the congregation that prays there, that worships there. But it's a disrespect to God. A school is nothing. So a school had no place there, especially if the school is coming from someone like me. But there is also another reason. I would have loved to put it in Minembwe. But unless I have like a $10 million grant, but I will never be able to sustain a school like that. In Burundi, it's easily accessible. We have teachers from Boston, Phoenix, Miami that teach there. They take a flight, they land in Burundi. It's a big city, they have a good housing, they can stay there a year. Not so many people can stay in Minembwe for a year, or even to get there. Okay? That's one thing. The other thing is financial sustainability. The tuition is about $6,000 a year. How many people can afford $6,000 a year in Minembwe? But today, we have a system 80-20. So 80% of the students pay, and 20% are on scholarship. Those 20% come from families that cannot afford that type of education, but whose kids are very, very smart. They're selected among the best. So those who cannot afford but who have smart kids have a chance to study in such an environment because the school is in a place where you can get the other 80% so easily that will finance the school. Does it make sense? Good. Thank you.
Let's clap one more time. Anyone with one last question or two? And then we'll be closing because there are other things happening here. Just let me tell you one story. We grew up, we went to school when it wasn't easy for us, to be honest. You guys growing up here, born here, we didn't have anything like this. I remember when I started primary school, when I got to P4, our teacher taught us about geography. We're doing geography. And our teacher told us that the planet Earth goes around the sun. I went home and told my dad, Dad, do you know what? Our teacher today taught us that the planet Earth goes around the sun. He kept quiet for a moment and he said, what did you say? Yes, today at our school they taught us that the planet, actually this planet is not static. It moves around the sun. And he said, I can't see the reason why I should continue to pay fees for a mad person. You are insane. So I think I should withdraw you from school so that you can help me to look after cows and sheep. Because there's no way. He told me I was born in this mountain. It has never moved an inch. Since I was born, this mountain was here and it's never moved. So you are telling me at your school in year 4 primary school that they've taught you that the planet moves around. I start shaking. Why did I say what I said? So he was nearly terminating my school so that I can stay home forever and then just be a village man and grow crops. Because he saw I'm losing my brain. My brother, who was at high school then, came on holiday, and they said, do you know what? Your brother is becoming insane. What? He said that at their primary school, they taught them that the world goes around. This world moves around. My brother, who was in year 8 high school, said, that is nothing. That's nothing. we were in Rurambo. He told my dad that if we dig one deep, we will fall in the US. My dad said, "Oh my God, that's it." So, guys, you have to take the privilege you have to have parents who understand education and use it rather than see it as a boring thing to do while being forced to go to school. Seriously, for us to be here, to have made it this far, it's because we believe that you can go far, far, far beyond what we could do. He said something very, very important earlier about the relay in this life, where we pass you a baton and you have to keep running. At least we believe in you, at least we encourage you, at least we tell you that this is possible. Maybe we've not made it to the finishing line, but we know that you can go and do great things in this life because you had exposure. When we had to revise for exam, we were make a fire and hold a burning fire while you are reading. And sounds funny, that's how it is. You hold a bamboo burning and you are reading for geography tomorrow.
Make sure no piece of bamboo falls on your
Exactly.
paper because they burn.
So that's how we were. But we made it this far. Can you clap for us, guys? Can you clap for us? At least we made it. So you can go far, far, far beyond. Anyone with a question? Anyone with a question? No more questions? Why are you so shy, guys? Who is coming back tomorrow? Who is coming? Are you coming back tomorrow? You're invited. You can come back tomorrow if you want. Yeah? Tomorrow you'll be mixing with grown-up people, so maybe you will not have time to ask a question, but thank you very much for today. And have you enjoyed it? That was for you, but let me ask you to give him a big round of applause. Thank you. What kept him grounded like this is because he hasn't lost connection to his roots. If he didn't have that, seriously, I'm not trying, I just want to tell you this realistically, and I know it's not bragging. If we invited you on a fee, how much will we pay you for this? A consultation session like this, in a hospital in the US, you are invited for a day to speak as an expert, as you are for a day. How much will it cost us? So that these kids will take home that we learn all this for free when we could have paid. Huh? Right. Are we still on camera? Wait, let's end it. Let's end it. End the camera. Just for you guys to see that in you, he said something very important. In you, there is potential.